told you to quiet down, but now you wear a crown. Visionary queen with a spark.
Welcome to You Matter in Business with Ariel Faith, your brand, your story, and your success, because you matter in your business. Welcome to You Matter in Business. Today, we are going to have a special conversation with Sue Schuster. She is a corporate credit and profit acceleration coach. That's a lot of words, but she helps small business owners access funding and grow sustainably without risking their personal credit. So I'm really excited to have her with us. She has over 20 years of business as a business owner, including building and selling a successful swim school, which if you could see her video right now, she has a giant pool behind her. So it's pretty cool. And then she brings real world entrepreneurial experience to her financial coaching. So this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to have this conversation. So welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
And before we get too far into the questions themselves, I wanted to if you could give us a quick background story as to why this is something of interest to you, or why did you put your energy and your heart into helping small business owners with the financial part of business?
Well, coming from a small business background and growing that for 20 years and selling and knowing the books, and we always knew what our books were. And then once you know the books, you can see where you're going, where you're failing, what line items are succeeding. And being a small business owner and wearing every hat, all the hats, all the time, and getting burnt out from that, honestly. But when you're the marketing, the CMO, and you're the CFO, and you're the C whatever O, and the janitor, and you do the craft and everything else you do, you kind of learn the hard way because you don't actually have the time to go learn new things most of the time, because you're at work, you're in work, you're doing it, you're working in the business, not on the business. And when you do have 5 minutes to work on the business, you're exhausted. So you're not actually really, maybe with chat nowadays, I don't know, you're not looking for the solutions. And especially if there's something you've never heard of before, like corporate credit and how important it can be, it can honestly be life-changing. And that if you personally guarantee something and it goes south, like COVID happened, and
Business
lots
is
of
risk.
people lost their homes because their businesses went under and they were
Yeah.
personally guaranteed. So it's become sort of a mission of, hey, I've been there, I've done that. I didn't know all the things. And now I know, I can't say I do know all the things, but I know more of the things. And I want to teach the business owners what they can do with just a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of, I'm not going to say extra work, but it's not extra money. It's just putting your money in the right place.
Okay, that sounds awesome. So you talked about corporate credit. So that's one thing that I would like if you could explain exactly what corporate credit is and why does every business owner, especially women entrepreneurs, need to understand what corporate credit is?
Sure. So, did I know what corporate credit is? No. And most of the business owners, males, females, doesn't matter. I'll pull their credit for them. I'll do that for anybody if you have somebody who's interested and knows what their corporate credit is. But I open it up and they're like, well, there's nothing there. I'm like, oh, nope, there's nothing there. And that's usually what I see because nobody knows what corporate credit is. So this is what it is. So think of the EIN number that you set up as an entity, as a person. It can do things. It can get sued. It can get into contracts. It can have a bank account. It can get lending.
Okay.
So it can do all of those things. The problem is that we as women, entrepreneurs, business owners, personally guarantee things. So we'll get to the bank. The banker says you need to personally guarantee this SBA loan. 100% SBA loans are guaranteed personally. And you're like, well, that's how business is. Here's my social security number. Now that loan is linked to you personally.
Right. Instead of the business.
So you have to actually, and when you're 18 and you're starting to build your credit, you don't go and say, hey, I want a house. I'm 18 years old. I have this tiny bit of credit. So businesses try to do the same thing. Now they're 10, 15 years old or even 2 years old. And they're like, well, now I want to use my credit. But they never actually took the time to build it because it's a rigged game. You have to know what you're doing. It just doesn't build accidentally. And we do things to undermine it without knowing that we're undermining our corporate credit, because either it gets reported nowhere, what you think is corporate credit with your Amex card or your Capital One card or your Costco account or wherever you think it's getting reported to the three credit bureaus, which are Experian, Equifax, and Dun Bradstreet. And it's not. It's getting reported to like an intermediary stage. It's getting reported personally, or it's not getting reported at all. So we teach people how to make sure that what they're spending and what they're utilizing actually is getting reported.
Okay. And why does this become particularly important? Why is having that credit? I understand obviously why we need personal good credit, but why is having corporate credit of value to a business owner?
For the exact same reasons. So
Okay.
corporate credit, you can get more funding
Okay.
for almost anything that you can get to report. So if your budget, and I'm going to shoot high, is $1 million, what if you had access to $1 million in funding for your business? What would that do for your business? So anytime anybody is like, oh, I want a huge marketing campaign, or I want to get a new key employee, or I want to turn and do this direction, and I need funds to do that. If you don't have access to the funds, because if you need funding, you can't get it, but you can start the process and then be eligible for funding later. So you always want to set these things up. So it just continues the growth of your business. You can get more funding for better rates and at more places.
Okay. Okay. So it allows you to keep the cash rolling when you want to grow.
Yes, or if stuff happens.
Or yes, or stuff happens. Hurricanes,
Yeah, who knows?
COVID, things like
You
that.
just made a bad business choice at some point. You're like, oh snap, let me get some
I've
funding
done
to
that a couple
do
times.
that.
Happens too.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to when we when you hear other people talk about it, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions or myths about specifically the corporate credit that keep business owners kind of stuck using their personal credit? You kind of tapped into it, but I think it's worth repeating.
Sure. So people usually think they have it because their bank told them they have it. And first thing I ask is when they say, "Yeah, I have corporate credit," I said, "Who's your bank?" And they'll say so and so bank, and they don't report. There's only a very few banks that do report. So
Ah,
most of the banks say you are building business credit with them.
but
So
not with the
but
big guy.
not with everybody else. So if I went to my bank and I said, okay, I want a business loan, you know what's been going into my account, you know me. I walk in, you say, "Hi, Sue," is great. But then I look at your terms, I'm like, ooh, these are not the best. I want to go to a different bank, but I can't because everything I've done in my bank has not been reported. And then Amex card, another one. I'm building corporate credit because I have Amex. Well, do you have the top black card that you need millions in revenue? No, I don't have that card. Then you're not building corporate credit. So that the Amex reports to an intermediate stage that's called SBFE. I didn't know exactly what that was, so I called it. And you know what? Dun Bradstreet answered the phone. I said, okay, so where is my everything I've done on my Amex card? Why is that not on my Dun Bradstreet account? Well, you have to ask us to report it to Dun Bradstreet and yada. There's extra steps, but if I were to miss a payment, that would go directly to Dun Bradstreet and not
Oh,
to.
that's nice.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't that super fun? So the biggest thing is people
Oh.
think they have corporate credit and they don't.
Yeah, that's a pretty important thing to know because I thought I was building corporate credit. See, I don't think
Ah,
I have. I think I've fallen into both those traps. Because I have bank credit and I don't know if they reported it.
well,
Very interesting. See,
offline,
this
you
is
can tell me what your bank is. I'll tell them if they're reporting or not. Well,
all
we'll
right.
just pull your credit and see what happens.
Sounds good. But we'll do that offline.
Mhm.
Okay, so since we're making this mistake, including myself, about we're assuming, right?
Yes.
Which we all know that does a lot of bad things for us. So if we have a bank account in a business name. So we're an LLC or a corporation or whatever, and we have this extra entity, which is that you talked about before with the EIN, and it's technically a separate person, even though it's not, etc.
Behind the lens, crafting tales and news.
Bring your marketing, your brand to life with storytelling and strategy. Cut through the noise with clear messaging and compelling visuals that resonate with your ideal client. We bring strategy, story, and visuals to help you with your marketing. Visit arieljoyfaith.com and schedule a consultation and see how we can help you bring your brand to
No
life.
selfies here, just genuine sight. Authenticity in every lie.
How is the bank looking at it? You said it was stacked. So I want you to kind of tap into that a little bit.
Say I want to build corporate credit. What do I do? Right? Okay,
Yes.
I got my LLC, or maybe I don't have my LLC. I'm just thinking about it. So the banks and the big banks look at 150 different things when they're looking at corporate credit. Now, keep in mind, the big banks are not actually going to look at you. They're going to look at your numbers. They're going to look at your website. So do you have a website? Is your business address your home? They don't like that. Hopefully that'll change. A lot of great people work from home, like me and you. So is your cell phone the phone for the company? Like, or have you taken the time to separate you personally from you, the business?
Yes.
So those are some things that they look at. And then after you have a credible business, that's all under step one, credible business.
Right.
Phone
Okay.
phone, website, address, and some more things are in there. Have you registered the phone number with 411? After you've done these things, then you want Dun Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax know you exist. And you make accounts there. Hey, this is my business. Pay attention to me, type thing. So after you do that, and they're free, but you kind of have to work around them because they want you to pay for these things. So now that the three businesses, Dun Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax know you exist, 411 is registered your phone number. Now you go and get the trade lines, the vendor lines. And when you hit chat, you do this in chat, hey, how do I build corporate credit? It'll give you half the story, but it won't give you all the story. And what they say is to make an account at Quill or Uline or Granger. So those are three that you can make a corporate account on. And maybe since you're a home business or something small, you're just buying toilet paper from them. And corporate credit is the ability to charge and repay. It's not actually revenue based.
Okay.
So it's
Kind of like a Lowe's card, putting it in.
Lowe's card is tier 2. You already have to have some corporate credit to get to a Lowe's card.
Okay.
So you would establish first with these little ones and do little things. I mean, we've had people buy diapers. We've had, just get stuff for home onto these trade lines, and they're going to be a little bit more expensive, but then you're building corporate credit. So as it works, you go into tier 1 and you get some vendor lines there. Those 3 are in tier 1, and there's others, and there's some banks, and there's some other things in there. And then you go to tier 2. So credit report is out of 100. So once you get 80 in a tier, then you bump to the next tier, and then you got to grow to 80 again. And then you got to bump to the next. So once you get to tier 4 is when you don't actually personally guarantee things anymore. In the meantime, you're personally guaranteeing here, there, and everywhere. Well, not for Uline. Uline, you won't have to personally guarantee. But as you go up into the tiers is when then you don't have to personally guarantee things anymore. But when you're a starter company, whether you're 5 years old and have no corporate credit, or you're just a startup and you have no corporate credit, you're still in the same boat, and you have to grow to tier 4.
Okay. Which takes you a little bit longer.
It takes about a year to grow your corporate credit, but the difference between an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old is not much.
That's true.
The difference in I started building corporate credit, and now I'm a year into it, and I've had 4 trade lines, and I've put as much of my budget as I can onto these things, whether it's a bank card or Uline or whatever, then you grow much faster.
Okay. So when it comes to the separation of the personal finances and the business, I find a lot of people struggle with this. To me, it should be clean, clear. It's one or the other, right? In my head, it's very clear. But I know this is a problem a lot of people have. They'll be like, "Well, I have a little bit left on that card, so I'll put it on that one." And then they start crossing over. I learned something interesting at a conference this past weekend that well, a lawyer was speaking and she was talking about how once you cross, she used a very good term, a veil,
Corporate veil. Yep.
corporate veil, and you have muddied the water financially, they can actually come after you and everybody else in
For
the
sure.
corporation.
Okay. I'll give you, for instance, a little story. This hasn't happened to me, but
Good.
so you have a flower company or something and you have a delivery truck and you use your SBA loan or whatever that you personally guaranteed to get the delivery truck. And it has your name on it. Sue's Flowers. And I was driving the truck and I got in an accident. Sue's Flowers truck is probably going to get sued. First of all, it has my name on it. So they think Sue's Flowers got a lot of money. And then they're like, well, it's a corporation. And so I don't feel bad about suing them. So they're going to sue the truck. And now it's got my name on it, the business name, but I've personally guaranteed it. So who owns the truck? So I mostly go. So whenever you personally guarantee your loan, you're piercing that corporate veil.
Yes, that was the term I heard, piercing
Yes,
the
so you're
corporate veil.
piercing it. So
Yeah.
if you want, now if I had Sue's Flowers truck and I had not personally guaranteed it, they could only sue the company because the company owns the truck and the insurance is on the truck through the company. It's not actually owned by Sue, it's owned by Sue's Flowers.
Okay.
So that's how you don't pierce the corporate veil, is that you don't put your name onto the things you own.
Okay. So if a business is starting out and they're small and they need using your analogy, the van, they haven't built corporate credit, but they need to get a van to deliver.
Right.
How do you get a van in the corporate name when the business is just starting?
You don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
You don't until you have built your corporate credit, and then you would get a loan and transfer the ownership of the van to that loan once you build corporate credit.
Oh, okay. So there is a way around it sort of after you've done it.
Yes.
Okay. So then you transfer. This is all relatively new to me. I don't know a lot of this. So this is really exciting because, that's why I wanted to talk to you because I knew you had value for us.
I appreciate
I mean,
that. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, this stuff is so important because I heard recently that if you're driving your car, your personal car, and you have one of those magnetic stickers that advertise the business,
Yep.
and you get in an accident,
They sue everybody.
they sue everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have commercial insurance on that car, your insurance company might not pay anything.
Good times.
Yes, that's really fun. That's called Down We Go.
Yes, that's true. So as a startup, there's no, besides Uline or Quill or these, like some gas cards are on there too. They'll give you like a net 30, net 15 type of card on your business, but they're not going to have like $500 is the credit
Right.
limit.
Right.
So you have to utilize that in order to grow your corporate credit until a year out. It really is not that far. We're like, oh, it's a year, but really it's just a year. So you can grow all the way into tier 4. You have to use them and you have to know what you're doing. The key to it is actually, what cards can I use? And before we came up with this platform that has all the cards, these are the cards, here, go apply for them. It was a trial and error thing that you would use a card and then check your credit report, which is free. No, it's not free. I'll do it for free, but you have to have a membership. So you could do it through Dun Bradstreet, but they're only going to tell you Dun Bradstreet, and Experian has a different one, and Equifax, and all of them kind of look at corporate credit differently. It's not
Okay.
or just like Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion look at your credit score differently.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah. So the other three do as well when you're talking about business credit. so you'd have to go back and check, hey, is this card reporting? Nope. Okay, go get a different card. What a nightmare. So we've really condensed with the knowledge that's in the platform that use these cards, we know they report.
Okay. Have
Like,
you written a book on this by any chance?
there is a book. I didn't write it. Brett Barner wrote it. So I didn't rewrite it. Honestly, it's a bit of a hard read.
Well, it's math, so.
Well, no, it's not that. So they had one male business owner did it this way. The boy always did it wrong. The girl business owner, at least Brett knew that, he's married. Anyway, the girl business owner did it this way and she did it right. And this was a ramification. So everything is kind of in that format. Boy, girl. And so I'm like, it's a hard read.
Okay.
But it's really good. So
Not flower shop owner versus
no
auto part
no
shop. Okay.
No, it's very, anyway, there is a book.
Okay.
And
This is very interesting. So I'm going to answer my own question, but because I'm looking at one of my questions here and it says, when is the right time for a business owner to start building corporate credit? I think the question is yesterday.
But, just like planting a tree or getting life insurance or any of those things now. So whether you're a startup or you just heard about this for the very first time, which is completely likely now.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that this isn't more talked about. And
In
probably big corporations.
my humble personal opinion, the OG in this field, Dun Bradstreet, I think broke it on purpose.
Could be. I could see
I
that.
have zero proof of that, but
that tells you lots, doesn't it? I have one of those guts myself. I'm laughing at my own question because should they wait until they're established? I think the answer is no.
Nope.
Because you might need the credit.
Actually, it will help you establish better. So taking you through what are the 150, we don't go exactly through the 150 things, but taking you through them and making you think, hey, where do I don't have a brick and mortar. What do I do? And most of us would be like, I'll just put my house. Well, that is public record. Do you want everybody to know where your house is? Probably not.
Yeah.
So just doing the things in the proper order and the proper steps will set your business up more securely than it would have if you're just like, let me get this mess done. And then I can just check off the boxes, but they're not really where it should be. And because you don't want those things public. So
is that why like co-working spaces offer a PO box in their business? Is that so you can house the business there?
Yeah. Don't use a PO box, but the virtual addresses and the co-working spaces work well.
Okay. What about the agencies that act as my brain's not coming up with the term, but they use their address because.
Yeah, you can use them as well. The only problem comes if you actually want to use a bank. Like when you want to use a bank, then they're going to want to see a statement. So you have your virtual address as your real address, and then you can make a sub address under it. And then that's where your bills could actually be sent to, or because sometimes they want a physical address. And until that they change the way that this goes with home, I think we have to utilize the virtual addresses or the agencies or the somethings. And the agencies can help you make your website too, and they can help you with a phone that just goes to your cell phone. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to utilize these things that you don't really need additional expenses. Having a whole office would be much more
expensive. Yeah.
Than all these other platforms that we use.
Okay, cool. Well, we're going to come back again next week and we are going to talk about strategic funding. Because once we've got the credit, then we might be able to get some strategic funding to help us grow. So we're going to come back again and talk about that. Thank you very much for giving us all this insight. Oh my gosh, you've opened my eyes.
Now she's dangerous.
Uh-oh. All right, we'll see you again. Or hear you. See you next episode. After all, it is your brand, your story, and your success, because I know that you matter in business. Thank you for listening to You Matter in Business podcast. Please follow, share, like, and comment. I would love to hear from you. This podcast is sponsored by Ariel Faith Storytelling Marketing and Your Brand Photographer. The show notes provide more information on how to contact Ariel and more information about this episode. Thank you again.
They told you to quiet down, but now you wear a crown. Visionary queen with a spark, lighting up the dark. Rediscover your own fire, chase the dreams that lift you higher. Redefine your role today, brand new in every way. Build your confidence through my lens, break the walls you put up since. Embrace your power, hear your roar. You are meant for so much more. You are meant for so much more.